Stranger, I lived in this world, and my thoughts are my desires. Stranger in my methods, I pour out my opinions. Stranger, I found no listener, and they do not know my situation. People are confused about my state. In the noise and chaos, the people stir in confusion, but my heart remains peaceful and distant. I sit here alone, with no shelter to take me in. Stranger, I found no home, and I did not care for its gatherings. I left behind the delights of the world, far from its distractions, and I traveled with my belongings. For some of its hopes, my heart is pure, I do not yearn. For the noise of its people, my ears are clean, I do not listen. Happy in its wilderness, I wander here alone, and sing its melodies. With my lyre and my flute, I secluded myself with my Creator. In sacred hours, the vision of the observer is stirred. I walk as though I am a shadow, a stranger like my ancestors. Stranger, I lived in this world. I gained no status in life, nor friends, nor family, no home to interrupt me, nor to console me, nor similar ones. Here in the monastery, there are signs, and no scale can hide them. Here the Bible is my lamp, and there are bars and shackles. Here, the monks are not afraid of desires and hopes, nor does the world enslave the heart with its cycles of retreat and return, nor does it amuse us now to attempt to tempt me. I say to every devil, stranger like my ancestors, beware, for I live. Pope Shenouda III, A Life of Faith, Leadership, and Legacy. Pope Shenouda III, born Nazir Gade Rufail on August 3, 1923, in Asyut, Egypt, became one of the most influential figures in the history of the Coptic Orthodox Church. He served as the 117th Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the See of St. Mark from 1971 to 2012 and left an indelible mark on the religious, cultural, and social landscape of Egypt. His life was characterized by spiritual depth, intellectual rigor, and unwavering devotion to his faith and community. His legacy continues to shape the lives of millions of Christians both in Egypt and around the world. Early life and spiritual formation. Pope Shenouda III's journey began in the modest town of Asyut, located in Upper Egypt, where he was born into a devout Christian family. His parents, both deeply religious, provided a solid foundation for his spiritual development. From an early age, Shenouda displayed a keen interest in learning, and his curiosity about the world around him was matched by a profound commitment to his faith. He completed his primary and secondary education in Egypt before pursuing higher studies at Cairo University, where he earned a degree in history. However, despite his academic achievements, Shenouda's heart was firmly set on pursuing a religious vocation. He entered the Coptic Theological Seminary, a renowned institution for training clergy within the Coptic Orthodox Church. His exceptional intellectual and spiritual gifts quickly set him apart from his peers. In 1947, at the age of 24, Shenouda made the bold decision to pursue the monastic life. He joined the monastery of St. Bishowy in Wadi al-Natron, one of the most important monastic centers of the Coptic Orthodox Church. There, he adopted the monastic name Shenouda in honor of Saint Shenouda the Archimandrite, a revered Egyptian Christian saint and spiritual leader. Shenouda's time in the monastery deepened his connection to God and laid the foundation for his future leadership in the church. A rising star in the church. In the years following his ordination as a priest, Pope Shenouda's reputation as a scholar and spiritual leader grew rapidly. His profound understanding of Scripture, coupled with his personal piety and humility, made him a respected figure within the church. In 1962, he was appointed as Bishop of Education, a role in which he was tasked with overseeing the religious education of the Coptic Orthodox youth. As Bishop of Education, Shenouda was instrumental in reshaping and expanding the church's educational programs. His focus was not just on imparting religious knowledge, but also on ensuring that young Coptic Christians were equipped to live out their faith in a rapidly changing world. He emphasized the importance of both spiritual and intellectual development, helping to raise a generation of Christians who were well-versed in both their faith and the world around them. Shenouda's efforts in education extended beyond the walls of the church. He worked to establish schools, theological institutions, and monastic communities that would serve as centers for spiritual and intellectual growth. His contributions to education, both within the church and the broader Egyptian society, remain a testament to his belief in the power of knowledge as a means of transforming lives. The papacy, a time of renewal and expansion. In 1971, following the death of Pope Cyril VI, Shenouda was elected as the 117th Pope of Alexandria and the Patriarch of the See of St. Mark. His papacy began at a time of great political and social change in Egypt, and his leadership would play a key role in guiding the church through many challenges. Upon assuming the papacy, Pope Shenouda was confronted with a number of pressing issues. He faced the task of modernizing the church while preserving its ancient traditions. His deep understanding of both the spiritual and intellectual needs of his flock helped him strike a delicate balance between tradition and progress. Theological education and religious renewal. Pope Shenouda's first priority was to deepen the faith of Coptic Christians. He expanded the church's theological schools, ensuring that future generations of clergy would be well prepared to meet the challenges of an ever-changing world. He also introduced new theological curricula that emphasized biblical scholarship, church history, and pastoral care. Pope Shenouda was particularly passionate about youth ministry. He understood the importance of reaching young people and instilling in them a love for Christ and a commitment to the teachings of the church. Under his leadership, youth camps, retreats, and educational programs flourished, helping to cultivate a new generation of Coptic Christians who were engaged in their faith. Building the church's infrastructure. Throughout his papacy, Pope Shenouda oversaw the construction of countless churches, monasteries, and educational institutions. His commitment to expanding the church's presence was not just about physical buildings, but also about creating spaces where people could come together to worship, learn, and grow in their faith. His efforts in building and renovating churches, especially in rural areas, made the Coptic Orthodox Church more accessible to people across Egypt. Monastic life and spiritual revival. As a monk himself, Pope Shenouda had a deep love and respect for monasticism. He worked tirelessly to revitalize the monastic life, which had been in decline in the early 20th century. His efforts to restore monastic communities and provide support for monks led to a revival of monasticism in Egypt. Under his leadership, several new monasteries were established, and the existing ones were revitalized, becoming centers of spiritual growth and prayer. Social advocacy and protection of Coptic rights. Pope Shenouda was a staunch advocate for the rights of Coptic Christians, both in Egypt and abroad. He spoke out against religious discrimination and worked tirelessly to ensure that Copts could practice their faith freely. His advocacy was not limited to his own community. He also sought to build bridges with other Christian denominations and faiths. Pope Shenouda was instrumental in fostering dialogue and understanding between Coptic Christians and Muslims in Egypt, always emphasizing the importance of religious tolerance and peaceful coexistence. Global influence and interfaith dialogue. One of the hallmarks of Pope Shenouda's leadership was his commitment to interfaith dialogue. He worked tirelessly to foster relationships with other Christian denominations, especially with the Roman Catholic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Church, and the Protestant churches. Pope Shenouda's vision of Christian unity was grounded in the belief that all Christians, despite their differences, shared a common faith in Jesus Christ. Pope Shenouda also made efforts to connect the Coptic Orthodox Church to the wider world. His visits to the United States, Europe, and other parts of the world helped to strengthen ties between the Coptic community in Egypt and the diaspora. During his travels, he spoke to both Coptic Christians and non-Copts, sharing the message of Christ and promoting peace and unity. The challenges of leadership. Pope Shenouda's papacy was not without its challenges. In 1981, he was briefly exiled by the Egyptian government following tensions between the church and the state. His exile came after the assassination of Anwar Sadat, and it was a period of great turmoil for both the church and the country. Despite the challenges, Pope Shenouda remained steadfast in his faith, and after 3 years, he was allowed to return to his position as Pope. The political climate in Egypt continued to shift throughout his papacy, particularly during the Egyptian Revolution of 2011, which saw the ousting of President Hosni Mubarak. Throughout this period of unrest, Pope Shenouda maintained a steady and calming presence, calling for peace, unity, and reconciliation. Final years and legacy. Pope Shenouda III's health began to decline in the late 2000s, and on March 17, 2012, after a long battle with illness, he passed away. His death marked the end of an era for the Coptic Orthodox Church. Millions of Egyptians, both Christian and Muslim, mourned his passing, and tributes poured in from leaders around the world. His funeral, held at the Cathedral of St. Mark in Cairo, was a grand and emotional event, attended by religious leaders, government officials, and ordinary citizens alike. Pope Shenouda's legacy is one of spiritual renewal, educational reform, and social advocacy. His leadership transformed the Coptic Orthodox Church, both in Egypt and abroad. He is remembered not only as a spiritual leader, but as a beacon of hope, wisdom, and love for all people. Conclusion. Pope Shenouda III's life and legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. His unwavering faith, dedication to education, commitment to social justice, and efforts to foster unity among Christians will forever be a part of the rich history of the Coptic Orthodox Church. His leadership transcended boundaries of religion and culture, making him a beloved figure not only in Egypt but around the world. Pope Shenouda III's impact remains felt to this day, and his example continues to guide the Coptic Orthodox Church toward a future of faith, hope, and unity. A stranger I came, and a stranger I remain. For my heart is set on you alone. A stranger I lived in this world. My heart was lost, my thoughts unfurled. I wandered alone, no one to hear the cries of my soul, my pain, my fear. Oh Lord, I'm a stranger, just like my fathers. In this world I find no home. I walk alone with you as my guide. In your love I shall never roam.